Hey everybody, today's April 14th and today we're going to look at the price of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin over the last 2 days, we've seen a big breakout and right now we're seeing a bit of a pullback. So the question is, are we going to pull back even more or are we going to find some support and then push up higher? And we have a lot to discuss today. Besides the price action, we're going to talk about the Pi cycle top indicator, which has finally crossed. We're going to talk about how that could affect the price going forward, and we're also going to talk about the Coinbase IPO today, which is probably the biggest news of the crypto space today. And also, we're going to talk about how the dollar is starting to come down and how that could affect the price of Bitcoin going forward. Before we begin, please read this disclaimer before you continue watching this video, and you can pause this video as you read it. Okay, so let's look at just the technical analysis first. So on the daily chart, things are still looking very good, right? We talked about how we've had higher lows and higher highs, and we've been finding support above the 50-day simple moving average line, which is our short-term support level, right? Since we had this epic breakout since October, all the way till now, we basically managed to stay above the 50-day, which is a silver line, or we've managed to bounce strongly off the silver line, right? The 50-day simple moving average. So I expect this support level to hold as, or to act as support still going forward. We've also talked about how we've been consolidating over the last few months and how we've managed to form a triangle, but we've finally broke out of the triangle yesterday, right? We had this epic breakout. After trying to break out and hold above this line, we finally broke out strong yesterday. But right now, today, we're starting to see a bit of a pullback, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, look at how this has pretty much gone straight up. So having a bit of a pullback isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as we hold above this line, which is 60,000, right? So in the short term, as long as we hold 60,000 at a bare minimum, I think that the price will continue to find support, consolidate, and then push higher, right? Of course, this is the Fibonacci level and we always talked about in the previous videos how Fibonacci levels usually act as resistance or support levels, right? For example, over here, the Fibonacci level acted as resistance, and we trended here for about a month before we pushed up higher, and then we broke through, came down, and found support on this Fibonacci line. Very strong support, right? Every time we broke down, we closed above. And of course, we like to talk about confluences where we have the Fibonacci and the moving averages coming together, acting as strong support over here. Again, we have some resistance over here at this Fibonacci resistance level, came up, came down. This level flipped from resistance to support, which is always great. Very bullish sign, came down, found support on the 50-day. And right now we're starting to trying to break through this Fibonacci resistance level. So it would not surprise me if we do trend here for a while before pushing up higher. I am bullish on Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin will continue higher, especially since it's finally broke out of this triangle. Now, what we want to see next is whatever pattern Bitcoin forms now in its support, whether it's a strong push down and push up higher, or whether we consolidate sideways, we want to stay above 60,000, right? I've said many times how Bitcoin has struggled to stay above 60,000 in the past, and finally we have a strong clean break above 60,000. But now is the hard part, which is we want to hold above 60,000, right? If we can hold above 60,000, I believe Bitcoin will continue higher, right? If we don't hold 60,000, the next line of support or defense is going to be around 55,000, which is where the simple moving average here, the 50-day simple moving average is here, is at currently. So we might see a scenario where Bitcoin, I think that if it does continue to correct, we might see it come down and find support like we did over here and over here of the 50-day simple moving average. But for now, I am optimistic on Bitcoin. I think that it has more fuel to run up more, to go even higher, right? On our exciting but slow journey to $100,000, right? Something that could possibly give Bitcoin more fuel to go higher is the dollar, right? We talked about in the past how one of the risk factors of Bitcoin is a rising dollar, and we saw that back in 2018, right? When the dollar, let's look at 2017, right? 2017, Bitcoin had this epic rally, of course, 2017 over here. But what happened in 2018? In 2018, we saw the dollar find support in early 2018 and then push up higher throughout the year, right? So when the dollar came down in 2017, people rushed into things that were pegged against the dollar, like stocks and cryptocurrencies. So the stock market had one of the best years in 2017, and so did the cryptocurrency markets. But in 2018, when the dollar ripped up higher, the stock market and cryptocurrency markets experienced a lot of volatility, and we saw that in the cryptocurrency markets. It had a bear market in 2018, right? So we also talked about one of the risk factors this year was the dollar finding support, like it and having similar price action that we had in 2018. And we talked about how if the dollar ripped higher, that could put downward pressure on Bitcoin, and that's exactly what we saw in starting from February when we saw this huge rise in the dollar, and that put a lot of downward pressure on Bitcoin, right? And it sort of like acted as a like a ceiling that Bitcoin was having a hard time breaking through. But still, we found support. A lot of buyers came and stepped in and bought every time the dollar put downward pressure on the price, right? And we managed to make higher lows. And not only that, but find support on the 50-day simple moving average, or short-term moving average. So this is the reason why I'm bullish on Bitcoin, because not only do we have a lot of buyers stepping in when Bitcoin goes down, when the rising dollar put a lot of pressure on the price of Bitcoin, but now we're starting to see the dollar come down, and that's gonna give Bitcoin more fuel on the upside, right? As long as if we see the dollar continue to come down and even like break below this support level, and perhaps make new lows, right? I mean, just think about all the money printing they have done and they're going to continue to do, right? The Biden administration wants to do more infrastructure plans. I think it was $3 trillion, and there could possibly be more stimulus in the future, right? More money printing, more devaluation of the dollar, right? If the dollar continues to go down, that's going to put a lot of upward pressure, it's going to give more fuel for Bitcoin to go even higher, right? So overall, things are looking pretty good on a technical standpoint. Let's look quickly at the MACD. The MACD, we said many times how we want to see more buying momentum, right? We want to see more green bars being printed on the histogram, and we have a bullish cross, right? But we had one here and it got nullified, it got rejected, and so we saw the price come down. But we want to see not only a cross be sustained, but we want to see a follow through with the price going higher, or the MACD going higher, right? And we want to see stronger green prints on the histogram bar, and that's going to give us more momentum on the upside, right? More buying pressure is going to push the price up, because we also talked about how we've been in basically a bearish divergence for a while where the MACD is going down, and not only the MACD, but the RSI has also been going down while the price of Bitcoin has been going up. And that's a bearish divergence, right? So we want to try to break that, and we want to see the price go up, but also the MACD and the RSI go up strong, right? And we want to see it stop making lower highs, but start to make higher lows, right? Higher highs. And that's going to give us more fuel on the upside. I still think Bitcoin can go to $100,000. The question is, what is the journey going to be? Are we going to go sideways and explode higher, or are we going to explode higher? So again, to summarize very quickly, in the short term, we want to see Bitcoin hold 60,000 at the very least, right? If we can hold 60,000, then I believe we're going to see the price continue to go higher. If we can't, the next line of defense around 55,000, which is the 50-day simple moving average. If we fail to hold the 50-day moving average, we can start to see a change in the trend. And we can start to see Bitcoin making lower highs and lower lows, which is going to be bad, right? That's a bearish trend. But for now, the technicals look very bullish, and I am optimistic on Bitcoin going forward. So that's the technical analysis. Now let's look at the Pi cycle top indicator, right? We've been talking about this for many weeks now, back in March. And we talked about how every time the Pi cycle top indicator has crossed in the past, we've seen Bitcoin either take a sharp pullback like we did in April 2013, or we've seen Bitcoin go into a bear market like we did in December 2013 leading into 2014, and December 2017 leading into 2018, right? So if we look closely, you can see it cross, right? You can see it cross because you see these dotted lines over here. Every time it crosses, there's also a dotted line here, right? Now, the question is this going to lead to a big pullback, right? Well, the way this works is within 3 days of this cross, we should see the price start to come down, right? Like it has in the past. But if you look closely, this might not necessarily lead to a crash, because in the past we've seen, if you look at all the dotted lines, we've seen way more dotted lines, right? This is only like 2 dotted lines. What does that mean? It means that the price was way higher from these lines in the past, meaning that the price was more parabolic. And the price isn't parabolic. We talked about this many times, how Bitcoin has been consolidating over the last 2 months, right? We don't have parabolic price action right now, or at least in the short term, right? So this could end up being a false positive. And keep in mind, this indicator was created in April 2019 after this cross happened, right? So we don't know if this can actually predict the future, but this is something everyone's been talking about. So I know that it's also very popular. People want to know what's going to happen, and the truth is nobody knows. But I think that if we just look at this, we can see that the probability of this entering a bear market, due to right now not being overly bullish sentiment or irrational exuberance like we did the last 3 times we crossed, I think the probability is that we won't have a big crash. We might have a pullback, a small pullback, but that has more to do with just Bitcoin ripping up higher, right? Just a short-term pullback. If we can, of course, find support above 60,000, it'll be I'll be very bullish on Bitcoin going forward. Another reason why I don't think the Bitcoin price is going to crash is that in the past, when the pi cycle top indicator has crossed, we've also seen a confluence of other indicators that are also crossing to overbought territory, right? The 2-year multiplier we saw when the pi cycle top indicator crossed in 2017 and 2013 twice, both times in 2013, we saw that the multiplier go into overbought territory above this red shaded line. We're not even above this red line yet, right? Or the orange line. So, and also the pure multiple, 2013 we saw a spike into this red bar area, shaded area, and in 2017 as well. Well, right now we're not even in overbought territory, right? Golden ratio multiplier. We saw 2013 and 2017, we saw the price action of Bitcoin hit these dotted lines. We're not even like above this purple line yet, right? Yeah, so we're nowhere near close to this line, which is above 100,000. Also the Z-score, we saw huge spikes in 2013 and also 2017 near the top of the market. We're not even in this red. We're not nowhere near overbought territory. So, I mean, I've said this many times in the past. We can't just rely on one indicator to call the top or the bottom, right? We want to look at a confluence, a combination of different indicators to help strengthen a technical argument, right? So we can use these indicators, these charts, along with the technical analysis, right? What the chart is telling us, right? And so based on that, I do think that we still have a long way to go to the upside, and this is not going to necessarily predict a crash. But then again, the pi cycle top indicator is supposed to call it within 3 days. So I guess to make extra sure, I'll definitely go over this again on Friday and on next Monday. And if Bitcoin hasn't crashed by then I think we can be fairly confident that the pi cycle top indicator this time is going to be just a false positive, right? So lastly, I want to go over today. Another big news today was the Coinbase IPO. Coinbase basically debuted, did very well initially, and then we saw a bit of a fade, right? So Coinbase opened around 380, went all the way up to 400,000. Sorry, $400, and that's basically implying a market cap of over $100 billion. And then we started to fade as the price of Bitcoin started to drop a little bit today. Now, we did find some support down at 300, but that started to fade a little bit. Now we closed the day for Coinbase at around 85 billion market cap, I believe. Let me look. Yeah, 85 billion market cap. And yeah, so this is a very historic landmark day for cryptocurrency community because this is the first cryptocurrency exchange to go public, right? And there are other exchanges that have talked about going public as well, such as Kraken or maybe even Gemini. And by the way, these are US-based exchanges, right? So this could end up leading the way, but I think for more exchanges to go public. But I think more importantly, it's really just the next step in legitimizing cryptocurrency as an asset class, right? Because in the past, a lot of like institutions and banks didn't want to touch cryptocurrencies because they didn't think it was legitimate or it was too volatile. But now we have a major exchange going public, and that just gives more like legitimacy to cryptocurrency space, right? And we're going to see more institutional money coming in. We've seen some institutional money come in throughout this year, right? From MicroStrategy in mid last year to Tesla early this year, right? Putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets, and now I think we're going to see more companies put Bitcoin on their balance sheets, and we're going to see more cryptocurrency companies, related companies, go public, right? Of course, we already have some mining stocks like Riot and Marathon Digital Holdings. But I think we're going to see a lot more, and that's going to cause more money to rush in to cryptocurrencies, right? And I think we're nowhere near the top. I think Bitcoin can go way beyond 100,000, right? Especially in the long term. But if we're talking about this market cycle, like 2021, right? Bitcoin, I think, easily over 100,000. In my opinion, 200 to 400,000 is where we will peak by the end of this year. Of course, that's just my own opinion. You have to do your own research, do your own due diligence, come up with your own conclusions. Right? I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just entertainment, right? Got to make your own decisions. But that's just my own opinion, right? And I think that, just to summarize, everything is looking really great, right? Coinbase is just the next major step in more legitimacy coming into this space, especially from an institutional standpoint. Of course, we early adopters, we've been in this for a long time, so we know that cryptocurrency is going to change. It is changing the world, and it will continue to change the world. But now we need some of the Wall Street money to come in and push the price higher. So just to summarize, Bitcoin overall I'm very bullish on Bitcoin as long as it holds 60,000, holds above this line. And of course, we're going to find some resistance around this new Fibonacci level, but I have no doubt in my mind we'll eventually break through and break up higher. Question is, are we going to consolidate and then push up higher? Or are we going to come down more and then find some support before we push up higher, right? So I'll update you again on Friday and of course on Monday and see how the price action develops. And hopefully we can hold above this triangle and push up higher. And it's just very, very exciting to see Bitcoin pushing up higher and see more developments in the cryptocurrency space. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for updates. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really appreciate your support. Have a great day.